1. I'm not a server but a cook. In my restaurant that I quit yesterday, this was a problem on both sides of servers and the kitchen. It's a franchise similar to Applebee's or Sbarro, food quality-wise. I applied before it opened, hoping to simp and gain respect from my employers, and I was okay with the job despite it having a simple menu when I have done more complex before. I was planning to stay a year or more, but I only lasted 8 months. I ended up being one of the highest paid cooks, and the bosses liked me. They hired a guy from another restaurant they owned who just wanted a change, but he would be super lazy and not even do the bare minimum. He would go party at night, or if he didn't want to come in, call in sick. This guy was working for one of the owners for 5 years. He's not a kid per se, he was 27, and from a well-off family, still living like he's 18. I would cover for him. They finally fired him 2 weeks ago after 6 months of bullshit when I sent the boss his text at 5 a.m. telling me I should come in because he's drunk. They finally began to hire 3 more people after this. I threatened to quit in March because of this guy, and I was stressed because I'm not throwing away my life in the middle of summer for this guy. It was the last straw in early June whether or not they fired this guy because they fired him twice and he came back. I did not believe them. In March, they hired this 18-year-old girl who was very good, but didn't start strong because she called in sick or had to take time off to study for exams. If she was drunk last night, I could not tell, and she's always a bit late, but otherwise okay. But this week, she called in sick because she was hungover. Then they hired her friend in the summer who was 19. Her second day, she looked fucked up, and later on I didn't realize when she acted that way. When she's in outer space, it means she's hungover. And she talks about it. They finally hired people that are okay but not good when one of their best people quit. They didn't sit me down or anything, but my other coworker who works less hours and also threatened to quit got offered a management position. He is older and has more experience, I get it. They sat him down and talked to him, but I was never sat down and given time to say how I feel. I had to initiate it. I should have had better boundaries to begin with. I just don't want to deal with people who suck like that. I don't mind 1 or 2 people, but this restaurant was full of them. 2. So been in the industry for 10 years, but at this place for the last 3. It was only supposed to be a 6-month job. Thanks, COVID. While at this place I worked a name for myself, and got asked to half manage while still keeping some of the bar shifts. Well, I've been a part of management for a year now. I've seen all types of people, broken up fights, dealt with Karens. I know the owners, they won't like this, all sorts of people. However, there is a 6th top I'll never forget. About a month or so ago, new server on the floor, so I put him on the patio. Little slower down there in Texas because it's 9,000 degrees at all hours of the day. So let him get his feet wet and learn the process a little. More of the way we flow. Well, our patio is cobblestone and it can be a little uneven in like 3 spots. He was taking a glass of wine out to a table. It was a Malbec. He hit a piece of the uneven spot and it falls all over this customer. He, of course, is wearing a white polo and a white pair of shorts. Older gentlemen do. Probably around his 60s, if I had to guess. Well, the server does the right thing immediately, apologized, and says I'll get my manager. Hey, I effed up real bad and he's pissed. I'm walking out and he's walking straight towards me. You're the manager. I have shirts older than you. I'm 26. Yes, sir, I am. I greatly apologize about this. What can I do to help remedy the situation? Nothing. This shirt and shorts cost me so much money there's nothing you can do. I want your manager. Well, sir, you're going to have to deal with me tonight because it's a Sunday night, and I'm more than capable to help get this situation resolved as best as possible. No, you can't. Sir, I have extra shirts downstairs for my chefs. I would love to take you down there and get you into a shirt. That way you're not wearing a wine-stained shirt for the rest of your meal. I'm also willing to give you money out of the restaurant to have you be able to replace this outfit you have." "No, that will not work. This shirt cost $100, and these shorts were $50. He then goes on a 5-minute rant of cussing me out, my server, and the entire restaurant. He was even wild enough to say that the only thing that would be sufficient is if I fire the server in front of him. He then proceeds to walk back to his table after cutting me off, explaining I would not do that, due to a simple mistake and a true accident. I get over to his family. I am profusely apologizing to his family and saying how truly sorry I am. His wife starts cussing him out, saying to stop and making a scene. Another gentleman gets up and asks me to follow him and says, "Yeah, my brother-in-law is a real piece of work, huh?" I wound up getting a shirt for the wine guy and comping a decent amount of the check, but left with 2 couples promising to come back and him and his wife getting in an argument. All of this went down while the owner's children were being on the patio and seeing how I handled it and reporting good things back to them. I truly believe the only way to have made this wine guy happy is if I were to have shot my server. 3. Absolutely the most insane story I have from being a server. This happened many years ago, but it just popped up in my Facebook memories today, so I thought I'd share it with y'all. Once upon a time, I worked in a local coffee hut. We did cafe drinks and sandwiches. Only one person was scheduled to run the hut at a time. We opened at 6 a.m. I am a woman. I got there at 5:30 to start everything, and a middle-aged Mexican man who spoke only very basic English, this is important to the story, comes up and knocks on the window to order a coffee. I explain to him that we're not open and get a blank look. I point to our hours. He reads it, smiles, and says, "I'll wait," in really heavily accented English, and sits on a nearby bench. Not unusual at all, actually. The hut is lit when I'm in it and looks open, but right now it's just him and me. I open at 6, and he orders a coffee. I ask him what size, and he doesn't seem to understand, so I point to the display cups we have and he indicates a medium. I make it up and hand it to him, take his money, and go to give him back his change. I'm about to close the window when he stops me and says, "Perdón. You know what this is?" and offers me a clear little plastic bottle with a pink writing and cap containing clear liquid. "Someone gave it to me. I don't know what it is. Do you know what it is? Can you tell me?" I didn't take it, I just kind of peered at it for a moment and told him I wasn't sure what it was. He takes a step closer so I can see better, still offering it, and says, "Here, for you, a tip. Maybe you can use it. I don't think I can." "Do you know what it is? Someone gave it to me the other day, but I don't think it's for me. I can't tell. Could you tell me what it is?" It's 6 a.m. I'm not completely awake, so I think, well, read it quickly and tell him what it is so he can be on his way, and reach for it. The moment that I'm taking it from his hand, it strikes me that his English suddenly doesn't seem that bad anymore. I look at him, but he's not looking at me, and has kind of a weird, maybe embarrassed smile on his face. I turn the bottle over and read it. My brain short-circuited, so I probably stood there gaping at it for 5 seconds. The label said female personal lubricant, in pink cursive letters. I finally put 2 and 2 together and look back at him to find him straight up leering at me, running his eyes up and down my body and grinning this disgusting, suggestive, creepy grin. I basically threw the thing at him and kind of screeched, "No, I have no idea what it is, I don't want it, have a good day," and slammed the window, closed, and locked it. Unfortunately, my hut is basically enough room for one person to stand with windows all around, above the equipment and counters. So he just stood there for a minute staring at me and speaking rapid-fire Spanish. Thank Eris, my boss pulled up in his big truck like a goddamn miracle and the creeper jogged off. Never saw him again, but I was nervous working my shifts for a month. 4. I work in an upscale hotel restaurant as a server and oversaw an interaction between a lady and one of my coworkers. The server went to the table to take their order, and the lady thought it would be a good idea to have her 5-year-old kid place the order. The kid ordered a grilled cheese sandwich off the kid's menu, and then ordered the mother's salmon cavatappi. After the server verifies the order, she takes it to the kitchen. Once the order arrives at the table, the lady makes the claim that the kid ordered the cheese pizza, not the grilled cheese. Despite knowing this is not true through the verification, the server apologizes and tells them she will have the chef prepare the pizza. The customer then demands that she leave the grilled cheese on the table so the kid can have something to eat while waiting. After the server returns to the table to inform her the chef is preparing the pizza, the customer then proceeds to say, "Do you think this is appropriate to bring out to me?" pointing at her food. The server, confused, says, "Excuse me?" "This is not a full serving of salmon. Do you think this is appropriate?" The server responds, "That is a 5-ounce serving as per the menu." "This is not 5 ounces. I want more." Our salmon comes in 5-ounce pre-portioned packages from our supplier. The server apologizes and goes to the chef to appease the customer. The chef sends her out an additional serving of salmon alongside of the kid's pizza. After they finish their meal, the customer complains that the kid did not get to eat because of the mistake, despite him finishing 60% of the food. The manager agreed to comp the kid's food and the server brings the check to the table. The lady then proceeds to go to the manager and says, "I was just thinking, I believe my meal should be free as well." Confused, the manager asks, "Why do you think so?" "For the inconvenience." The manager then responds, "Well, I comped the kid's meal for you already." "Well, I am the customer, and the customer is always right." The manager then responds firmly, "You are not getting your meal for free." The lady then pays her tab and storms out of the restaurant, and then starts berating the hotel front desk staff about what happened. She didn't leave her server a tip either. Personally, I believe the customer was trying to scam the restaurant for a free meal. I am sickened to think that people think it's appropriate to behave like this. 5. Alright, my dudes, here you go. Things that annoy your server. Please feel free to add to this list. Ordering special fruit in your drink when you're not at the bar. Limes, cherries, etc. If it isn't a lemon, only the bar has it. Being an extra little shit when you're eating at a normal family restaurant. "I want my steak cooked halfway between medium and mid-rare with just a kiss of garlic." Complaining about the amount of alcohol in your drink. Restaurants have different liquor laws than bars. Also, drinks are made by recipe. If you want a Jack and Coke that's half Jack, make that shit at home because I'm not allowed to do that. Not specifying that you want your soup or salad first and then getting pissy with your server. This is not an across-the-board practice. If you aren't asked, then ask yourself if you have a preference. It seems I must clarify this. Yes, we usually ask which you want, but not all restaurants do, therefore not all servers are trained that way. The point I'm making is that there is no unspoken rule that a soup or salad side dish always comes out first, and if your server doesn't ask, then you have no business getting mad when you yourself didn't speak up to clarify. Demanding to sit in a specific spot or table unless you have a medical or mobility issue. Servers have certain tables assigned to them and have to be seated in a specific order. If you don't feel comfortable being near people, then stay home. Working lunches and dinners. I don't mean pulling out your laptop at the table. I mean demanding a private, quiet space, hoarding the table for hours, or demanding a large party table to host a meeting. Rent a meeting room at a local library or set up in a cafe somewhere. Completely rework the menu items. It's fine to ask for things like no cheese or extra pickles or light sauce, but asking for chicken parm but with Alfredo instead of grilled chicken, but keep the tomatoes and penne instead is way out of line. Pout like a petulant child when you go out to a place famous for chicken or barbecue or steaks, and the only vegan option is plain salad. Eat however you like, but don't expect everywhere to cater to you, especially when the place is known for a specific type of food. Walk right past the host stand and seat yourself, then get offended when you're told to move or that the restaurant is on a wait. The host is there for a reason. And honestly, you shouldn't seat yourself unless there's a sign that says, "Please seat yourself." Leave $10 for a $9.89 check and tell me to keep the change like you're being so generous. "Oh, but this place has this," then go eat there. "The other server always gives me a discount or extra." Good for them, but most likely that isn't something we are supposed to do. Can't tell you how many times I've seen other servers give their regular special deals because they know it will get them more tip. I'm not your usual server, and I'm not willing to break the rules for you. For the love of whatever deities you follow, let me finish serving the table before you start asking for extras. I still have 5 plates to hand out. I don't care if you need barbecue sauce right now. When I have handed out all the food, I will make a list of everything I need to bring you. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Spitting Plates, episode 181. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Before you go, I'd appreciate it very much if you hit the like button. And possibly, if you're feeling so kind, share the video around with all your friends and family. Let's see, this brings us to the weekend, doesn't it? Yes, well, there we go, good stuff. Saturday, this should be going up if all goes according to plan. And let's see, no special shoutouts today, but we will have a question of the day in a moment. Right, I will do my best to do the usual Saturday stream, so hopefully you can join me for that. Probably about the usual time. My sleeping schedule is completely messed up, as it always does when I get unwell. But I'll nap and I'll be awake. It'll be fine. As for what we'll be playing, well, it doesn't really matter. It's mostly just so I can chat with you guys and spend time with you. But either Sherlock Holmes or possibly Phasmo if there's people about. There's an update coming out soon, but I have no idea when it drops. I think they just very recently entered the testing stage before the release, and I don't know how long testing takes, so as long as it takes, I guess, depending on how many bugs they find. Okay, so let's see. I really should look at some more community games, but it's a matter of finding ones that everyone has or are reasonably cheap or ideally free, but are also fun. There's the rub. Fun. Okay. Right, let's move right along to Hellfreezer's question of the day. Today's question is fantasy locations you would like to live in. Right, so anywhere from a book, TV shows, movies, hell, even in a song, whatever, comic books, it's all good, that you would like to live in. Now, this is going to sound like a weird one because it's a very odd dystopian thing, but there's a comic book I rather enjoy called Transmetropolitan. And it's set in a place called just the city. It's like this, it's basically just this massive, massive city. And it's a weird and wonderful and frightening place where they've got technology that can make food using nanobots and clothing and everything as well. You can get any alteration. You become part dolphin for a day if you want and then be a person again. You can transform into like what is basically called a foglet, which is basically a sentient cloud, or a sentient fart, if you want to look at it that way. It's a very interesting comic, and that'd be a very interesting world to live in. Don't know if I'd want to live there permanently, but I'd be curious to give it a go. You may have others. Like personally, while I love Star Trek, I wouldn't want to actually... Well, I wouldn't mind living in that universe if I got to live on Earth. I wouldn't want to be in Starfleet. That wouldn't be fun for me. Much as I enjoy the show, I would not enjoy serving on a ship. I'd die very quickly. That being said, I wouldn't want to go anywhere where like fantasy realms or anything like that, because I really like modern technology and all the conveniences we have in the present world. So they'd have to have those as bare minimum. It might be nice to live inside a TARDIS. Then you could go wherever you like, and you've got this kind of infinite space that you can mold into whatever you want. That'd be a lot of fun. Okay, I'm going to stop rambling now. So you might have a different answer, so let me know what you think in a comment below. And with that, I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.